Ladies and gentlemen and programmers, we're going to do lesson 2 in Code Academy. We're going to learn all about variables. They seem super weird at first, but they are super necessary and useful. All right, so a variable is the name location of the memory that stores information. Write that down in your notes. A variable is a box in the RAM that holds stuff. Write that down in your notes. All right, what does that mean? It basically means things like this. Let's say you're playing the most awesome game ever made that all of you totally love. It's called Fortnite. Well, let's say that you pick up an ammo pack and now you have 10 bullets, right? Well, is it important that you remember that the computer remembers that? Yes, it is. Is it important that you're like counting how many shots the other guy fires and you realize, oh, he's out of ammo, right? Well, you want the computer to remember that as well. So you have to store that important information somewhere. Where do you store it? You store it in the random access memory of the computer, the RAM. And so basically, with the way we like to think about a variable, it's like a box in the RAM in the computer, and it stores stuff. Okay, so in this case, the name of the variable would be ammo amount. You're going to be able to store how much ammo you have, and it has to have a data type, which we'll talk about later. There it is, and then right now we're setting it equal to 10, right? So we're putting a 10 in the box, and so we keep track of that. And if you fire, then you're going to subtract 1, and now you know that it has 9. Okay, so a variable is a named location in the memory. So this is like the RAM. It has a name, and it stores information like that. Okay, or a box in the RAM that holds stuff. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at Code Academy here, and we'll actually start doing the first lesson. Okay, it says over here that so I want you to hit pause and read all this stuff. You should read all this stuff. Okay, so if you haven't read all of it, do it. Okay, it says in the creator.java, so we have this file called creator.java. We have defined some variables related to James Gosling. All right, so we said right here, we say string name equals James Gosling. So you have a box called name, and it's holding these words. Okay, and you have a box called year created, and they're holding this number. Okay. Okay, so we're going to print. We want to print, so we have to go right inside our main. Here's main, so it starts here and ends there. So we're going to click right here, hit enter, and we're going to say capital S. Print line, and then so what we want to do is we want it to print James Gosling, which is being stored in the box or the variable called name. So we're just going to put in name. And so it's going to look in the box called name. It's going to see what's in there, and it's going to print it if we put in our semicolon. So I hit run, and it looks inside the box, sees James Gosling, and it prints that. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Use the same command to print out the year created. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just copy this. Let us do that. Okay, but instead of name, we're going to use year created. So we want it to look inside that box, see what's in there, and we'll run it and see what happens. Okay, so now let's take a look at the notes here. Okay, we always give variables names. Okay, so such as name and year created. Declaring a variable creates a box in the RAM that has a name and a data type. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. The data type is the type of stuff that can go into the box. So if we take a look back at this, so the data type of this one is string. The only thing that can go into the box called name is letters, okay, or characters sort of things, right? This is an integer data type, and the only thing that can go into our box named year created is whole numbers. And you can see that's what we've done. All right. Let's go on to section. Oh, to assign something to a variable means to put something in the box. So that's a statement. So write that down. What is the assignment operator, and what does the assignment operator do? Okay, so what is the assignment operator? That's the equals symbol. What does the assignment operator do? It puts something in the box. So, for example, if I said int year created, it's just going to make a box called year created, and the only thing that can go into the box is an integer or a whole number, right? But right now the box is empty. But if that's what would happen if I ran this line. If I ran this line, it would actually use the assignment operator as the equal, and it would actually stick something in the box. So the 1995 is going into the box. Okay. Okay, what does an int variable hold? How would you declare an int variable named how old is Miller? I'm going to let you struggle with that one on your own. What is the largest, and by the way, it better not be super bad. Okay, what's the largest number an int variable can hold? You're going to have to look that up, and you have to read the thing and look that up. All right, so let's take a look at the next section here. All right, we're going to go next here. Okay, so the first data type we will store is a whole number. Okay, and so again, you have to stop and read all this stuff to find the answers. Okay, the file count comment.java has a number of comments in it. In your head, count the number of comments, then inside the main method, declare a variable called number of comments that holds how many comments you counted. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 comments. Okay, so we have to, whenever we write code, we have to be inside the main method. So if you click here, you can see this is inside the main method. This is where you will define your variable. All right, and so we need to declare a variable called number of comments that holds how many comments you counted. It's going to be an integer data type. So we say int num comments equals, what do we say, 6? Okay, and so then we run that. Okay, so notice nothing happens. It's storing that 6, but it's not doing anything with it. All right, print out number of comments. This is where you will print your variable. So you're going to say capital S system dot out dot print line and a semicolon in early. And what do we want to print? We want to print number of comments. So we'll copy that and just stick it in there. Okay, so it's going to look inside this box, see what's there, and print it. Okay, there it is. You see the 6. All right, that's good. All right, so next, make sure you read all this very carefully. So read all this carefully before you go to hit pause, before you go on with my video. Okay, why do we need a double data type? Why can't we just always use an int when we need to store a number? So we know that an integer holds a whole number, but I want you to read and figure this out. How would you declare a double named Miller's height? So figure that out. You can figure that out on your own. You have to read the comments. You have to read all the stuff. All right, let's go back to the thing and see what it's doing here. All right, so let's see what it's saying. Okay. Oh, let me reset it. Okay, so we're going to click here. As of 2016 Android, okay, create a variable called Android share that holds the percentage as a double. So we have to start with the data type, so double. So double Android share is the name of the box or the variable. And then we're going to say it equals 81.7, 81.7. And then we finish with a semicolon and we run that. Okay, that's good. It likes that. Now we have to print it. So now we're going to do a capital S. And oops. And then inside here, we're going to put Android share. And I forgot my semicolon. All right, let's try that. Uh-oh. I don't know what I did there. This will be right here. There we go. There you go. There it is. It printed it. Okay. So let's see what we have next. All right, let's go to the next one and let's see. So I want you to hit pause and read all this stuff and learn about it. Okay. Let's see. Create a variable called ints can hold decimals. Well, that's so it's wanting us to say if that's true or false. So a Boolean variable can hold true or false. So we're going to start off with our Boolean data type. So Boolean ints can equals, okay, you have to figure out if that's true or false, and an int can hold whole numbers, definitely not anything with a decimal. So we're going to say that is false, semicolon. Okay, so I like that. Print out. Okay, so we got to print that. I don't want to type it in wrong, and I'm lazy, so I'll just copy that. Paste that there. Don't forget the semicolon. Run that. Okay, good. Okay, so what two things can a Boolean variable hold? Well, true or false. A Boolean can hold true or false. How to declare a variable named is Miller nice? You have to figure that one out on your own. I'll help you if you give me a call. All right, what can a, okay, well, let's go on to the next little section here. All right. Okay, how do we answer questions like what grade did you get on the test? Okay, so now we're going to put in some letters or characters. So we're talking about the character data type. So hit pause and make sure you read all of this. All right, create a variable called expected grade of type character. Okay, so we're going to type in character. In this particular data type, we have to use the single quotes, and I'm going to say I'm going to get an A, and I don't forget my semicolon. Okay, so I'm creating a variable called expected grade, and it's going to be holding an A. Ooh, what have I done wrong? Oh, I don't need the parentheses on this. That's not right. Okay, so let's try it now. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's print that out. I do need the parentheses here. Different sort of thing. Okay, so let's throw in the expected grade. Okay, there it is. All right. So let's see here. Let's make sure we answer all of our questions. What can a character variable hold? Read that and find that out. How do you declare a character variable named what grade am I going to get? So answer those questions. And let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's read this together. So far, we learned primitive data types, which are the simplest types of data with no built-in behavior. Our programs will also use strings, which are objects instead of primitives. So whenever they talk about objects, it's like the robot. It's like the robot in a robot chair door wall. It's somebody that can do something. So if you're talking about an integer, it's just a number. It just sits there, doesn't do anything. If we're talking about a string, it's a robot that can do something. Okay. So we're gonna have our let's do this. So create a variable called opening lyrics. It holds yesterday all my troubles seem so far away. This is gonna take me too long to type. I'm gonna hit pause. Okay, notice a couple things. Number one, unlike all the primitive variable data types we've used so far, string starts with a capital S, telling us that, hey, this guy opening lyrics isn't primitive. He's like an actual robot. He can do stuff. And then the other thing is different than a character because we use double quotes. Okay, so let's hit run. And then the next line is we have to print it. So we're going to say system dot out dot. And then we're going to put in our semicolon, and then we're going to say opening lyrics. And then we're going to press Control V, and then we're going to run it, and it says, yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away, and now we know they're just here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. All right, so let's look at the spiel here, and let's learn a little bit about this. All right, strings aren't primitives. They are what? Objects. So strings are capitalized. Okay, how does Miller describe the difference between a primitive and an object? You don't know because I haven't told you. How do you declare a variable named? Okay, let's take a look at the next thing. All right, if you have something like int year created equals 1995. Okay, so you have a box. It can only hold integers, and you stick an integer in there. That's it. That's all you get. You can't really do anything with that number. It just sits there. You can change it to like 1994 or 1996, but you can't really do with it. But on the other hand, when you have a variable that is a string with a capital S, right, because it's an object, so what you're really doing, let's pretend the robot's in the box. So what you're really doing is you're creating an object or a robot that's holding the letters Mr. Miller. And what's the difference? Well, this guy just sits there, doesn't do anything. This guy, if you asked him to, he could put these in reverse order. He could separate the first word from the second word and just give you the first word. He could do all sorts of things. He has all sorts of built-in functions that he knows how to do. Okay, so let's go back. How does Mr. Miller describe the difference between a primitive and an object? A primitive is just a box that holds a number or something simple like that. An object variable is holding a robot that you can ask him to do stuff. So far, we haven't asked him to do stuff, and we won't in this lesson, but eventually we will ask guys like that to do stuff. All right, and you can finish the last one on your own. Okay, let's take a look at the next one and see what's going on there. All right, we're doing lesson 7 of 9, static checking. All right, so here's the deal. Static checking just means before you compile your project and turn it into a class and break the computer, it'll actually just look at it first. So before it compiles it, it's going to look at it first. So if you try to run this thing, it says, no, we're not going to compile it. Oh no, I have to type it in over here. I have to say Java C, Java C, and then I want to do mess.java. And I hit enter, and it's going to be like, no, it gives you all these error messages because you did it wrong. Okay, and so the number 1 says, try to compile. Okay, change the data. Okay, here we go. Change the types of the variables. All right, so this is 2001. Okay, well, what is that? That's a whole number, so that's going to be an integer. Okay, Shrek is, you notice the double quotations, so that has to be a string. Remember, it's not primitive, it's an object, so it's capital S. Okay, this is a character, it's just in single quotes. And then this has a decimal, so it's a double. Okay, and then this is true and false, so this one's Boolean. All right, so now we hit run, and it'll work this time. Let's see if we can compile this time. So we're going to Java C mess.java. And let's move my face and hit enter and see what happens. Okay, so this time it worked, and we're ready to go on to the next thing. Let's see what I have for my spiel here. Okay, what is static checking and why is static checking good? I already told you that. If you don't know, ask me in class. All right, so let's keep going to the next part. All right, make sure that you stop and read this thing before you listen to me. So hit pause, read all this stuff, learn, and then listen to me. Okay. So there's a correct way and an incorrect way to name variables. And it's important that you name them correctly so that the next guy after you can come back and work on the project. So not one programmer is going to just work on a project. You're going to create version 1 and a different programmer is going to work on version 2. At any rate, so if we hit run, we're going to get all these errors because this is incorrect. So we can't start a variable with a letter. So instead of first, we're going to say first. And notice the first letter is always lowercase. The second word is always capitalized. That one's probably fine. You can't say .com. So on this one, we're going to get rid of the C and the period. It's going to be dot with a capital C. This one's no good because it should be a capital E. Salary expectation, and this one's probably okay. All right, so let's run it. And now the program runs because we fixed all of the problems. By the way, that one wasn't actually causing a problem. It would have ran with the lowercase e. It just makes it a lot easier to read. And so the expectation is the second word of a variable name gets capitalized. All right, what's next? All right, let's take a look at the spiel and see what we have here. All right, answer those questions. You can figure those out on your own. And let's go ahead and go on to the next one. And looking at the last one, 9 of 9, I'm not gonna show you how to do this one. You can figure this one out on your own. But what I do need you to do is when you're done, I need you to take a screenshot when you have finished 9 of 9 and it says finished. I need you to take a screenshot. So figure out how to do that. If it's on a Chromebook, it's different. If it's on a laptop, it's Control Alt Print Screen. You have to figure out how to take a screenshot of a Chromebook. If that's what you have, you just do a search for how do I take a screenshot, or you can ask me in class. But make sure you turn this assignment, the picture of the finished assignment, in to the Canvas, and also make sure you turn your notes into Canvas. Thanks, guys.